And I don't know. I've been liking it. Like I've been having a good time. It's fun. It's just like I may have bought into it because I like the characters. I like
Mhm.
Nightwing, and the Robin in this is Tim Drake. I love a bow staff. So like swinging around as Tim and using my bow staff and stuff has been fun. I don't know. It's been fun.
Somebody asked me if I was going to play it, and I asked them if it was free. But when they told me that it wasn't, I said I think I'd wait.
Until it is.
Yeah, like I'm sure I got Xbox, so I'm sure maybe it'll pop. All right, hello, everybody. Welcome back after a small break to another relaunch. We're your hosts. I am martial arts extraordinaire Shang-Chi.
And I am big badass himself, Teth Adam, Black Adam.
Oh,
I
yeah.
bow to no one.
The Rock. We love it.
Boom. Had to pull him out there.
He's had a good
How are
week.
you?
How are you? Oh, I'm doing
Yeah, let's start
well.
with you. How are you?
Okay, I'm doing okay. We paused last week because I went to the wedding, and I know the question has been on everyone's mind. It was not a dry bar, so shout out to
Oh, I
that.
know that's right.
It was the
Yes.
bar was very wet, and so we got we had a good time there. Beautiful ceremony, loved the love, had a great time. So yes, how are you?
I am great. I took that time and ate pizza and played video games. I've got the new Gotham Knights game, and I saw people like,
Oh,
it has not been getting great reviews. No. But
mm-hmm.
and I originally wasn't going to get it, but my dad texted me and was like, "Oh, I want to get this game," and I was like, "Well, okay, I'll get it and play with you. Like we can play together." And I don't know, I've been liking it. Like I've been having a good time. It's fun. It's just like I may have bought into it because I like the characters. I like
Mm-hmm.
Nightwing, and the Robin in this is Tim Drake. I love a bow staff. So like swinging around as Tim and using my bow staff and stuff has been fun. I don't know. It's been fun.
Somebody asked me if I was going to play it, and I asked them if it was free. But when they told me that it wasn't, I said I think I'd wait.
Until it is.
Yeah, like I'm sure I got Xbox, so I'm sure maybe it'll pop up on Xbox Game Pass at some point in time, and then I might indulge. But I don't think it's something I'm going to actively spend money on.
What I would love for them to do is to expand on the roster of characters, add Catwoman or Harley. Well, she's already in it as a villain, but maybe make her playable or something. I don't know. I think you can really like do some stuff with it. I like the mechanics of it. It's fun. It gives
Mhm.
me like a more polished version of the Avengers game.
I
Although I
was
didn't,
literally about to ask you how would you compare it to the Avengers game.
yeah, I think it's in my opinion, I didn't think the Avengers game was worse than this one because that one had. I'm gonna be honest. I like changed my changed my word like this.
Okay.
The Avengers, the Avengers game was kind of rough because I did experience way more glitches with that game than this one. I've only played Gotham Knights for like a few hours, but I haven't experienced any kind of glitches or anything like that at all. So the Avengers game was worse in that way, and Avengers clicked down because they were using like the MCU roster from like 5 years ago.
That is true. And they're still
So
adding people from that roster to the game.
right, like they hadn't added anyone that like the fans actually wanted to play with at that point. Like, where's Carol? Where's Wanda? Where's like the characters
Yeah,
that
the
people
girls cannot wait to play with Wanda.
right. You throw a magic character in anything and people
You
start
know, and I've been having this thought about, like, speaking of Wanda, because she's a very powerful character. I always think about how we talk about like the type of characters we like, and when I go towards more of the street level types, because I think about these powerful characters, and one of the biggest ways they get neutralized is their powers get taken away. And after their powers get taken away, they're useless. Let's say you're in like a warehouse and you got 50 ninjas coming from you at all sides, and the helicopter is 3 minutes out, so you got to survive. And it's you stuck in there with Wanda. What's she going to do?
Well, Wanda, I
A
guess
Wanda
what
who don't
lure
got
more
no
ninjas them
powers.
away? Oh, Wanda, yeah.
Because they know how to neutralize a witch for whatever reason. So she's sitting here powerless. What's she going to do?
She can't really fight. Like, no hand to hand really fighting like that. So run away? I don't know.
It's disgusting. But no,
Scream
go
for,
ahead.
scream for help,
Continue.
I guess. I don't know. But I think Gotham Knights is it's not nearly as bad as the reviewers were saying. I don't know. I've been having a
Okay.
good time. I've been having a good time with it. So that's what I've been up to recently.
Well, shout out to game Gotham Knights. If anyone else is playing to have a good time, let us know.
Yeah. I've been really starting to play my PlayStation 5 more. I bought it and I was like, once I get this, I want to become like more of a gamer. I was always, I think, consider myself a pretty big gamer. But like now I'm like, if I'm gonna have the system, I want to carve like specific time out where I'm
Hmm.
actually playing it a lot more. So
Hmm. It's self care. I love
yeah.
it.
And if y'all see me out there on Fortnite, you can add me. I'm pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
I'm pretty good. Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the updates of the week. So there wasn't too much going on. There were some rumors about some casting choices that, like, I don't really want to add too much fire to those rumors. Like, I don't really support them. One of them was Adam Driver meeting with Marvel and how he could possibly be Doctor Doom. I hate that idea. So
He isn't Doom like supposed to be older?
Doom is like, Reed's age. However old you want to make that in the
So
Marvel
is that not older? I don't
I don't know. He's like he's not old old. He's like 40, I guess.
like
Now,
40.
it depends on where they just tell the story. Like when he was first getting his powers, he was like in grad school. So,
Mm, I don't know. Reed feels like one of those kids. Like
but he
some
also always
people.
had the like white on his sides of
It
his
makes
hair.
him look old. Like you see some people and it's just like you've been old my entire life. And I think that is what I look at when I see or what I think of when I see Reed Richards. It's like you're just like this old guy who's just been old.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily. Yeah, when he got his powers, he was young. He wasn't
I
old.
don't know. I don't
So I
know.
guess like
Yeah.
if I would assume they are not doing an origin story, they said that. So like I would assume they don't have to go super young, but they won't go super old either. I don't know. Either way, when it comes to Doom, Doom is Romani, and like that's pretty integral to his story. And
Oh yeah. You can't
I think
I don't think Adam Driver is Ramon.
I don't think so either. So that's why I said we're really gonna talk about that. But so I didn't want to add too much fuel to those fire about those rumors, but I did want to maybe go on a rant. I don't know.
Oh, I love Ryan.
I wanted to bring something up, bring something to the table, and maybe
Okay.
we could talk about it.
Hit me.
And come on, Destiny Child. um, when it comes to comic books, um, and obviously as they are being translated and adapted into other mediums, and
Mhm.
the usage of characters, right? That's what I want to talk about right now. So, how much of the characters' usage is like company mandated versus how much it is the writers of the projects choosing who they want to write? For example, we talk about a lot of times characters end up being stuck in their quote unquote 90s version. You know how we hate talking to like bringing people
Yeah,
back to that. But how
bro.
much of that is Rogue? Um, how much of that is because that's what the like studios and all of them want to have done, or how much of that is the writer saying this is the version of the characters that I want to use, or you know, I'm gonna write my favorite character, so that's just what it is. Like Sins of Sinister is coming out soon, right? That's gonna be this new event for the X-Men.
Yeah.
And recently there was an interview, and Gillen said that the question was what was going to be the most, who were going to be the standouts for next year or all across the X-Men line. And Gillen's answer was, I think, Sinister, because it's in the Sins of Sinister, and Emma Frost. Now, obviously, those are two of his favorite characters. So are they being pushed by him, or are they being pushed by like the company? And why aren't like other characters being used right now? What do you think?
Um, I think it's a character by character basis. Honestly, I don't have no insight into who gets picked and whatnot. But I think of something like Rogue, how you say she's in the 90s costume. I think that's always going to be something that's company mandated because I think that is just like that is Rogue's most iconic look. I think she's had a lot of good looks, but I don't think anything has surpassed that. It was like that with Betsy in the
I like the
hand
costume. It's
costume.
hot.
Yes, I know everyone does. It was like that with Betsy in the hand costume for a long time. Like you could put her in anything else, but she always went back to that until the Anchor suit came around. So like Rogue in the '90s suit, that's just something that's like it's gonna happen. Yeah, we might put her in something else for a while,
Well,
but that's going to come back.
I
Um,
meant more so like not necessarily the costumes, but I meant like their status quo. Rogue in the 90s was very,
mhm,
the naive girl, don't touch me. Oh my gosh, I can't
mhm,
control my powers. Um Now obviously she's much more confident in herself. She's has
mhm.
control of her powers, and they move past that. The suit ain't going nowhere because that just is hot in itself. But
Yeah.
like what would be worse for her would be going back to the that version of herself in the 90s. Like how much of that is because of a writer wanting to take a character back there versus a studio.
Um, I don't know. I don't know if I think Rogue's gone back there though. Or I can't think of too many characters that have gone back there in that sense. That wasn't more so just some thing of the writer saying, I gotta like build a new foundation. And I just gotta like take you here for a quick second to remind you of what it is, and then we'll push it forward. I think of something in the case of what you were talking about, like with Sinister and Emma. I think that is just the writer using his favorites. I think I think that is just like, oh, y'all letting us kind of write whatever we want to write. I got a story for these two. I like them. That is what it is. I really do just think it depends on the character. As for like who doesn't get used, I don't know. That's also kind of a thing because yeah, I think when I like to listen to a lot of creator interviews and like how they talk about their processes and when they're in these big groups and their summits and things like that, and they talk about how they have all the characters out on like
Yeah.
tables and things like that, and they kind of just divvy up who goes where, and it's like you think about a lot of them being the main characters of the books that you've read for a very long time, and you imagine, okay, my favorite's on this table, and it's like, okay, where does she get pushed? And it's like, okay, if she gets pushed out of something because we don't have a place for her now, how long is it before we put her somewhere else? I think it's more of a thing of just what's that old Marvel slogan? Wait and see.
That's what they like to tell you. Just wait and see.
And that's it. I think they'll
Do you
eventually always come back. I think you might have to wait a year or so though.
now in terms of when it comes to like the big two books, right, from DC and Marvel, DC characters are mostly solo characters before they're a team character versus like the X-Men where they are like team characters before they are all individual solo characters. Now, in the terms of like everybody's living on Krakoa and there's an island or whatever, anyone can kind of be turned into a solo character. Do you feel as though there are enough like A-lister quote unquote solo characters amongst the X team to kind of be spread out the way they are now. Because it seems like they all are. Like, we've talked about it before where basically that 90s team, like they can't be that anymore because that was 30 years ago. Like everybody kind of has to go on and do something else. And characters have been moved into different positions and new lanes and stuff. But now it's time to fill in those lanes that they occupied before with the next group of students or characters. Do you feel as though like they can do that now because like the A-listers can leave and the new characters can kind of sell the books, or do we still need the A-listers to come back and be together?
I I would like to believe that they are able to like be a part and do it, and that you can build these new teams off the strength of one or two. I think that you can have I would like to say that you can have a Jean and a Cyclops and an X-Men and have that be built out and have I don't know, Storm and a Sunspot and something else and build a team around them. I do think it's going to come down to like who you put on that team. I think
Mm.
you can't have too many. I think you still got to pull like a few like C-listers.
Are there enough of those to go around?
Oh yeah, I think a
But
lot.
then it feels, I don't know, to me it feels like they aren't using those C-listers currently to fill the other spots. Like a bunch of like randoms.
Who do you? Well, I guess like give me a book as an example.
Um, let's take X-Men Red, for example.
I knew you was gonna pick that
Let's take X-Men Red, right?
one.
It's
Okay.
got Storm
Mm-hmm.
and Magneto.
Okay.
Not before, but like Storm, Magneto, right? I feel like they were the biggest
Mm-hmm.
names in that book. And then after that is what? Cable,
Cable and Sunspot. Yeah.
Cable and Sunspot,
Yes.
and then the rest is all new characters.
Yes and no. Cora and Fisherman are newer Araki characters. Yes. Um, a lot of the Arako characters, I guess. Yes. But then you've also got like Frenzy appear sometimes. But I don't know. I think X-Men Red is kind of a different book though.
Hmm.
That's not the despite it being called X-Men Red, it was never about the X-Men.
Right. Okay, well then what about Marauders? Marauders had Kate, I
Kate
guess is
Bishop
the
and Psylocke sell that book.
is that
And then there's
enough now?
I mean not for that group.
But like truly, I'm wondering now, like, can the A-listers all like be separated like that and fill it in?
I don't know. But like I also like I don't know. Kate is like the outlier there. Bishop and Psylocke too have like the cool factor. And
Mm.
you know, she has the look. People know who Bishop is. Kate is just I guess Kate's popular though. She's been in the
She's
movies.
popular.
She's been in the
Yeah.
cartoons. People know who she
Mhm.
is. I just don't think she's that interesting in the books. Do people like really run to read books about her?
I saw that shady tweet once that said when Kitty Pryde like phases through something, do her fans just like cheer? Like
I just and I've been thinking about Kate a little bit lately too. I don't think the whole captain thing is working for me.
Yeah, the like pirate captain theme.
I'm not into it.
Kitty's just not for me anyway. But her
That could
aside,
be.
I feel like could they have filled that cast with, Siren and I don't know, other like
Oh
multiple men
yeah,
or stuff like
I
that
think
instead of
I do think they would work. I think those are the characters who kind of got to like be in that position. And but I think
or
I
like,
think
if we talked about X-Men Red, why isn't Cora like Monet? Or like, I don't know.
oh Monet.
You gotta put her somewhere. The people like her.
She's an X Corp. Well, she pops up a lot in the background
Oh yeah,
doing
she
stuff.
does. Yeah, she
She
does.
does. She's a cameo queen for sure.
But I mean, like on the main roster, do you think that those C-level characters like Monet
Hmm.
and the rest of them should they start?
Yes, but I don't know. Again, I think a lot of the X books right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think a lot of those books are very much like we using our favorites.
Okay, so it
And
is
I
more
think
so like
and I
they
think
the writers are
Monet.
just using their favorites.
I think Monet was Hickman's favorite, but he wasn't necessarily everybody else's,
Ah,
or she wasn't
got you.
necessarily everybody else's. I think other people are like Monet, but it's kind of like, oh, we also got Emma.
And I'm gonna use my favorite, and that's Emma.
Yeah.
Hmm. That is wild. I've been recently just thinking about Lorna and Rogue and any of my other kind of favorite characters, Wonder Man 2 outside of the X books, and like what is it that will get them in something? And it seems as though a lot of writers recently are writing their favorite characters versus like
Mhm.
writing the characters. Um,
Well, in terms of Rogue, I think you'll always be fine there. Rogue kind of gives like fan favorite. You know what
oh
I'm
yeah,
saying?
Y- the
She'll
white streak, the villain turned
she'll
hero.
always be around. Someone will always want to write Rogue. So I
Hmm.
don't. She got that little mini series with Gambit popping up and Destiny, like that
Oh,
family
I know.
drama.
I'll be there.
That's a big draw for her. Lorna Lorna's a different case. That's a little bit more difficult because you got Wanda in
I
there,
know. Yeah.
and
That's a tough hurdle
Uh,
jump.
that is a high jump. As far as Wonder Man, I think you kind of got to get a little bit real about that one. And you need to accept the fact that both Wanda and Vision, I'm sorry, and also Beast are going to be involved in whatever he does.
I've accepted Beast. I will
So
not
I
accept
said
Wanda.
three names.
I know that they're probably going to have him pop up somehow because they are starting to sprinkle in mutants.
I wouldn't be
Wanda, I could
surprised
do
if,
without.
like, he finds her unconscious amnesiac body after that mountain collapsed on her.
That's annoying. That's fine, I guess, because they never end up together anyway. But it's annoying
I
to have to
know,
see him
because
go
she
through the
she
whole
tells him
thing.
no, but he just keeps
Yes.
on pushing. It is like, wow.
No, every time he moves on, like every time they keep having to bring it back up because they move on.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of panels of Wanda like, Simon, I see you like a brother.
Hmm. That was in Uncanny Avengers,
He just
and that was
kept
great. And
going.
literally, he moved on. Right after that, he moved on. Actually, after that, he ended up getting trapped inside of Rogue, but that was some dark times for everybody
Mm, mm,
involved.
mm.
But
Yeah. You just need to accept that those three are coming for him. And it's a big deal, but it'll be nice.
I'm not too worried about them coming into his story because he is going to be appearing in the MCU. So like, I know he's going to be getting content, which is another thing that we can talk about a different time, and that like a lot of comic appearances really do depend on when they're going to be debuting in the MCU.
Okay. Synergy. It controls everything.
It's truly a shame. I don't know. I just wanted to everyone out there listening, let me know what you guys think. Like what your are on certain characters aren't used. Do you think it's like more of the a company mandate kind of thing, or do you think there is just a lot of writers kind of using their favorites, or just don't fit the story? You know what y'all think. Let's go ahead and take a little break, and then we'll come right back.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the comic section of a show, and we were discussing this because I had quite a large pull this week, and Elsie did not.
I knew it was So if you
So let's
got comic book recommendations, send them to me, please.
yes, please do. He's looking for new things. He likes superpowers, cosmic characters, and magic.
Action.
So,
I mean, don't.
despite what
Anyway.
he may tell you. But let's go ahead and get into this week's books. I have a couple mentions, of course. Aquaman Andromeda #3 from Rand and Christian Ward came out. Christian Ward came out, excuse me. That was the finale to this book. Very beautiful horror, cosmic, Atlantis, Manta, Aquaman. It was fantastic. It's Rand V. I don't know. I'm not gonna say nothing bad. Um,
Yeah.
Batman the Knight also, and I believe this was the final issue. This has been like that story of Batman through his younger years, like going through his training. I thought it was really fun. Ghostmaker showed up. You know, I'm Ghostmaker stan, so I was here for that. Defenders Beyond #4 also came out. How Ingwe is telling like this really interesting story. This issue had like all the team wrapped up in a alternate reality, and Blue Marvels was interesting because his involved him actually denying the president's edict back in the day that like told him to stop being a superhero. He like didn't do it,
Oh, so he kept
and
going?
then yeah, he kept
Or
going,
he
and that
personally
result.
denied it?
Yeah, he was like, "No, I'm not doing it." He was like, "I'm still
Oh,
gonna
I
do
know that's right.
this," and
Yeah.
so that resulted in him. He actually stopped the Kennedy assassination, and then ends up running for president and wins. And like that's his little
Ooh.
future, and so it's like really. I also this issue made me realize that I love those type of stories. Like I think about the Terror of Trigon arc in Teen Titans when he came and he put them all in these alternate realities and they were like got mad, had to kill themselves. Like I love
That's a
them
classic,
figuring a
yeah.
way out of that. It like really
Yeah.
gets me going. But all the characters had to go through that. His was interesting because at the end when he rips his house self out of it, he's like, you know, I'd rather live my life as it was than some crazy historical fiction. And it's like, I don't know. The crazy historical fiction was kind of hit, and I think I might need a little spin-off miniseries of that because what you did was not good. So that was a fun issue. Avengers 61 also came out. That continues to just be like really big, fun, super heroics. Jason Aaron's run is coming to a close soon. So I'm sad. I'm gonna miss it. I didn't realize how many of my faves are like actually in this book, but
Yeah, it was for you.
like this is an Avengers thing for me. She-Hulk was there, Blade has been there, Thor's been there, Jane Foster's been there, um, Man Thing's been there. He's been fun. Natasha was there. Cap is there.
You
I'm
said Moon
here.
Knight already?
Moon Knight was there. You know, Echo's there. She's the Phoenix. That kind of got a little weird, but like she's there.
Is she still
Heroes
there? Is
Reborn.
that?
Yeah, that's still a thing. I thought
Oh,
Jean was
that
gonna
wow.
take it.
I didn't think that was gonna last this long.
The covers were beautiful.
Yeah,
Every
they were.
cover involving her as Phoenix is beautiful. The story is a little weird. I was kind of hoping Jean was gonna take it back during her Axe issue, but I guess that's not happening. I think it would just make a lot of people a lot happier at this
Yeah.
point. We'll see.
Like Jean is.
She needs it. But getting into the books of the week, we're going to start with X-Men #16. That comes from Gerry Duggan and Joshua Cassara. And once again, as I say, year two is taking it.
I don't know
I
about
love
all of that.
it.
I wouldn't say all of that.
Here
How
you
you in year
go.
two took it? You don't even see them like being together.
Year two?
Yeah.
What do you mean? We got a conflict. We had
I
Scott G
mean them
Patrick
talking to each
fighting.
other, liking to each other.
Oh my!
Yeah, you
This is
also got
exactly
Jean
what. No,
saying
no, 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 no.
specifically
Let's not.
that, oh,
That's what you
the
want.
team is falling apart.
Exactly. This is what you want. This is what you wanted from year one. You wanted them fighting. You wanted them arguing. You wanted conflict. Havoc is being built up to betray the team. I will say that. Dark Web is coming, and he is going to betray them for Matt, as he usually does.
Mhm. As he does.
So
That's his girl.
I appreciate the buildup of that. I appreciate the little banter between Firestar and Magic trying to play Mean Girl. However, I need them to stop acting like this is first time. This is Firestar's first time on this rodeo. She's been with the X-Men before.
Hmm.
She's been with the mutants before, actually. during that.
I kind of really hope that this doesn't become like her thing, where that she's constantly being picked on for being an Avenger. Like we get it.
Like, get serious, Magic. Okay. But anyways, that's fun. Love Forge and his like sinister ways as he's with Sinister and like just being shady. And I feel really bad for Caliban. You know, I've said it before. Caliban is like a character that I really enjoy for some reason. He's like one of those D-listers that's close to my heart. And his
Mhm.
story is so sad because I feel like he is one of those who's constantly being used by like the bad guys and being changed, Apocalypse, Forge. Yeah.
Literally put him on his body.
You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. He's being mutilated. He's being abused. He's getting killed. I think about like those early X Force issues. He was like one of the mutants who got killed. He got killed during Messiah Complex. Um, and but it's crazy he keeps coming back because all he wants to do is help mutants. That conversation he had with Forge, and Forge was clearly lying. Like, you know, I told you you can use your powers to help somebody, and doesn't that feel good? And he was just like, yes, it does. And it's just like, oh my gosh, Forge.
Yeah.
But Forge
Fire.
is also really cool, so I'm gonna let it slide.
It was cool to finally see, and this is what I've been talking about as far as like the X books not really even talking about Krakoa at all. It was really nice to finally see like some real estate plans and like to actually
Mhm.
see the buildings and things that would actually be on Krakoa because never have. And that was really nice. Outside of those little huts that everybody like sleeps in, we never really saw like
Yeah.
the island and how everything kind of was being built out and we actually lived there. That was really cool to see.
Hmm.
Um,
That'll be interesting if
Year
it's like
two
a
was kind of
precursor to some Fall of X stuff too. To be like, okay, this it's just like whatever we had is broken down before it already had the backup plan with our new buildings. King.
that would be interesting. Um, Year two was kind of struggling against this Pero
I mean, he was very
guy.
strong.
Year one was taking it when they were handling things like this, but you
I
know,
mean, they were fighting like goons with guns. Oh, and we got a girl who controls metal. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
it sounds
I'm
like
sorry.
someone isn't fully,
They were also
remembering
getting
everything that they
beat
fought.
up by the Hellions. So,
No, they didn't. My girl was
uh,
fine. she she did just fine. But you know, I don't know how love well this Ross gonna do with the brothers fighting each other and Magic not paying attention, like
yeah,
and being
she's
nasty.
Magic is once again proving why she doesn't deserve a lot of the roles that she has. But
I wouldn't go that far. She beats ass, but like I do think she needs to cool it on like the the Firestar shade.
she gonna get her face burned off. She's not that strong anymore.
Why not? They do some with her
Uh,
powers.
with the Arc and New Mutants. And like her powers aren't tied to limbo and stuff like that. Oh, that reminds me, Midnight Suns #2 also came out this week, and that was something that happened when the team fought Doctor Doom, and like Magic came up to him to try and like attack him, and she lost. He told her he was like, "Your infernal energy seemed diminished. You're not as strong as you were before."
Oh wow, so it's like a thing.
She's clicked down.
Oh, is it because she's just like no longer tied to limbo?
I think so. Yes.
Well, okay, she can learn how to repower herself. Like you know how the magic do. I'm so it's
Well, oh, I guess she
Alakazam
does.
or
She
whatever,
does know magic now.
whatever y'all do.
She's learning some powers.
That's good. I'm sure they'll repot her with something better. Um, I will say that this like arc ending was kind of a shock to me. I'm sorry that this book's
Yes.
ending. I was not expecting that to happen. Um, I will say I'm not sure if I'm interested though. Like I'm gonna keep it all the way real.
Oh,
Like I was not expecting that ending, but I'm like, okay,
I
okay
was
now.
disappointed at the ending. I was excited for Darwin. I am a certified Darwin fan, and I was hoping to see him at the end. The shock twist of it being Little Miss Laura still alive there did catch me off guard, and I just feel like it's gonna be more about Sync than her. So
Yeah.
good for them. There's two Lauras. She is officially Wolverine though, baby,
She's
because like she's
Wolverine.
getting the Wolverine treatment. She's in like multiple books. She's got her flashback mini. There's an old version of her, and there's going to be a young version of her. She's taking it.
Yeah, she's Wolverine. When you become Wolverine, you get the full package. That's why I tell people, you gotta get your favorite characters around a Wolverine. It
Okay,
helps. It is what it is.
you want to sell
But yeah, I
Wolverine is
thought
popular. I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I'm interested to see where it goes and see like how this affects the whole original thing about like Krakoa and the resurrection process and like there being two people and what happens when you resurrect somebody who's not actually dead and like how you're going to go about that now.
yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they kind of resolve that issue. Um, and again, to see, I really hope that at some point that the teams like characters start to like interact more with each other, so we get how they feel about each other rather than just conflict point to move the story along. No, like of course we expect Havoc and Cyclops to fight. They brothers, they always fight, but like
But now you
I don't
get
know.
Jean being nasty in the background too, and you hear her real thoughts. Like she like, oh, he need to get off this team, and it's like, ooh, like, ooh. It's like she
See,
ain't
this is
never
why I say
said
we
that.
need two teams. I need another team that also has like their own problems.
Mm-hmm.
I need more of the X-Men.
No. I like year two. I think they're taking it. I'm interested to see how year three will be affected with the fall of X coming.
Be voting soon. In like 2 months, you'll be a new
Ooh,
character will be joined.
I hope some of my nominations made it. If they do, you guys, I just want you to know Dust, Risk, Hub, Wiccan,
For sure.
Scorn. These are all the people who you can be voting for.
You think they will put Zorn on?
I hope so. He's so cool. Either one. Preferably the one with the
I've
blue
been
flame head.
I've been wondering who they're going to have on the ballot now. I feel like they
Armor
have
will
like
probably
a
be on
lot
there
of
again.
third time's a charm. Maybe she'll win that
Honestly,
time.
I was about to say, honestly, they should just put her on the team. Like, just she can be one of those spots that we don't vote for, but like she gets voted in or something like that by everybody else. Like, just do it. Monet might be on
Like
there
don't
again.
don't leave that up to the people.
Yeah, because she's not gonna win.
What would you rate this issue?
Oh, I would rate this issue a 4 out of 5. Love down, love the art, love the interactions. Ready for more.
I would rate this issue a 3 out of 5. I had a solid time. It was solid.
Okay, that's fine. Moving on. Crypt of Shadows #1 came out this week. This was a horror anthology from Marvel, and it featured stories from a few different writers with a couple of different stories. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't really like this. And you know, I love me some horror stuff, and it had a lot of my favorite characters in it. Moon Knight popped up. Elsa Bloodstone had a story. The
Was it
daughter of Blade.
horrible?
I hate that. Like, I genuinely found that really funny. Anyways, so like there's a little thing in between that is done by Victor Stark and it's written by Al Ewing. He's kind of just like narrating this different stories that are happening, like, oh, you know, in ghost stories this happens, or you know, a girl goes down a bridge and whatever, something like that. And throughout that are the various stories. So one of them is from Daniel Lore. It's about Brielle, Blade's new daughter. Hated that story. It was
Oh
so
no.
cringy. The dialogue was like so bad. It gave very much, hey there, my fellow kids. Like, do you remember how I used to talk about the Falcon series when they introduced that new Patriot boy? And I used to like send you the pages of them talking.
And what he talk about Jay-Z and Beyonce or something, and it
Oh
was
my
like
God,
very
it was
like
awful. It was
cringy Jay-Z.
bad. It
Yeah.
was bad. This is what Brielle gave. And honestly, it like really turned me off because she has the miniseries coming up that's gonna have Blade in it. And it's like kind of strange because Danny Lore also wrote one of those Blade one shots. The one during Death of Doctor Strange. And I love that. I thought
I'm
that
like,
was
oh
like
yeah,
really
I
good.
remember you said that was like one of his better
I was like,
books.
oh, this is amazing. But I was like, oh, if this is what he's giving with Brielle, I was like, oh, I don't want to read this. So it's like going to be kind of conflicting because I think Blaze obviously supposed to be in that. So I'll check out the first issue. But I was not impressed with this story. And like Brielle as a character, everybody knows I was here for Blade's daughter. I remember like when that got
Oh,
announced back in the
Tiffany.
day, Fallon. But
Oh,
Tiffany
I
would have
don't
been cute too.
know. I
Oh
don't know where that
yeah,
came from.
but
Okay.
I really did prefer like the design and aesthetic and name of Fallon that they have for her. I'm not really digging Brielle too much, but I don't know. I'm gonna try it out. This was not my good first foray into her though for me. The Elsa Bloodstone story was like kind of strange. I didn't think the character voices were done very well. Elsa's known for being kind of like quick, witty, snipey, cussing. She gave like these very long, drawn out monologues. It just didn't feel weird. Johnny Storm showed up because they had to like rescue Spider-Man who had been turned into a spider. He felt very naive and new. There was a Morbius story. Okay. Um, there
They did
was
cash in on that meme.
there was a story from Werewolf at Night, and Moon Knight pops up in that, but Moon Knight felt very off, and his character voice was weird in that too. Then the final, there was another story about like X-23 and Man Thing getting locked in this eternal battle because his pheromones set off a trigger set for her, and then she kills him, and his empathic ability start building off her rage, and they're just locked in this for like billions of years. And it was like, okay, that the art was cool on that, I guess, but I was
I didn't
kind of
smell that.
disappointed
Go
by
ahead.
this. I'm not gonna lie. I hope that it still is successful because I would like these things to continue for Marvel. I've realized again a lot of characters that I like are obviously street level, but a lot of those street level ones also play in the horror genre, and I do love horror comics. So like if we can continue to get little specials like them, continue to build them up, I'm always going to want to see more of Moon Knight. I'm always going to see want to see more of Elsa, and Man Thing. Morbius, not so much. I just don't see it for him. Brielle, I'm gonna try and root for you, girly, but you're making it hard. Overall, I will probably give this like a 2 out of 5. There were some nice art bits inside. I'll give it that for sure. Um, Next up, a story that did have some good Moon Knight. I mean, yeah, it was Moon Knight number 16, and that's from Jed MacKay and Alessandro Capuccio. And every issue, I feel like I've been saying like this is like my favorite issue of the series, and I don't think this one changes it. Um,
That's
Jed
good. I feel
MacKay
like you've
is just
changed. You really like come
turned
around
around.
on this Moon Knight series. It
Yeah.
wasn't all the way there when we first
It,
started.
it wasn't.
You
It
know,
wasn't.
them
It
first few
wasn't.
issues, it wasn't all the way there.
It was rocky, but no, it's really come around. I really appreciate what Jed MacKay is doing with the characters in here. Reese and Soldier are kind of the new family that he's built up, and they go to confront somebody who's telling them about the tutor, who is the vampire crime lord who Moon Knight's been fighting against, and basically just tells him about his plans and ambitions, how he wants to like really broaden his reach as like a crime lord of the vampire world. And like he wants to go to Chernobyl to meet with Dracula and all of these other things. And reading it was so interesting to me because I was like, this is such a good vampire story, and Blade is nowhere to be found. Which because I'm hoping that they do eventually team up. But you know, I've also been talking about how I've been reading a lot of Blade stories. And I was like, Moon Knight is getting like the best vampire story, and Blade has had nothing but horrible ones. It's so interesting and funny to me. But I'm hoping they connect
That's why
sometime.
that team up is good in the
Um,
comics.
yeah. um,
Especially with like
but
Midnight Suns being a big thing. I'm sure that's coming.
it's popping. And but like the issue's good, we deal with that. We kind of meet like some other interesting character. Hunter's Moon goes to fight two of the assassins who Moon Knight fought earlier, and it seems like they actually kill him, and that's going to be a message that they send to Mark. So like I'm not sure, but you know, Khonshu, his avatars love to die and come back. So I don't really think that's the last we've seen of him. Um, I'm really loving it. I'm wondering if MacKay ever plans on bringing in some of Moon Knight's old crew supporting characters back: Marlene, Frenchie, Gina, Crawley, that whole crew. He's mentioned them a couple of times before, but obviously we haven't seen them, the daughter. And I just think it would be really interesting to see them interacting with Reese and Soldier because these are two characters who I feel like Mark is being a lot more open and honest with than he's ever been with them in the past. And like just seeing the dynamics of how they shift and like how he's grown as a hero would be something that I'm interested in seeing. So crossing my fingers for that. But All in all, I would give this issue also a 4 out of 5. I think it's really good. I think Jim MacKay is doing great stuff. I'm like hoping and praying for a long 50 issue run for this because he
Okay.
deserves it. And it's time. It's like good Moon Knight. I feel like a lot of Moon Knight runs can be a little like up and down, kind of touch and go sometimes. Bendis was downright bad, but this one's like solid. And I feel like it hasn't been solid like this in a really long time. And it deserves. So that's that. And our final book of the week is Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, #4. And this comes from Genuine Gang and Marcus Toe. And let me tell you something. Marcus Toe, it is like night and day reading and like seeing how much better his art fits on it than it did on a different book that he used to do. And it really shows me that like his characters need action because he's great at movement. This entire issue, basically, Shang-Chi gets kidnapped by these big giant alien lizard gremlin monsters. It's funny because he's on a date with Delilah, his ex-girlfriend, and she's like, what life-changing thing or like massive thing is going to come and stop our date? And as soon as she says that, these lion gremlin things pop up and they're like, Shang-Chi, we need you to come for this tournament. And she's like, yeah, I kind of figured. So he goes and do that because they take the 10 rings from him. And so basically, they say that they've kidnapped 10 other martial artists throughout the Marvel universe. I was about to say the MCU child.
It's got you.
The Marvel universe. And it's honestly just like a bunch of like kind of the C or D list martial artists that we have. So we see the cat who's been a rival for Moon Knight before. We see Lady Iron Fan. We see a bunch of other fun people. So that was cool to see. And they're all the Asian heroes as well. So which is like super dope. And they all get locked up in this tournament. They're each given one of the 10 rings. And whoever fights gets the next one. And then they're just going to battle in this tournament to see like who gets them. And it's like really interesting because Shang-Chi is like, why are we even fighting? These are mine. Like, this is who I am. And they're like, so why are you scared of them? Why are you scared to use them and go to their full power? So no, we're going to see who it is. And then one of the monsters that they fought at the end of last issue possessed one of the girls. She managed to get into the tournament, or the monster possessing her managed to get into the tournament as well. So he teams up with the cat. The issue ends. They have some cool fights throughout it. It's fun. It's a tournament issue. It's Shang-Chi fighting. Like, I don't think you want anything else.
Yeah. We all love a good tournament.
Okay? Turn it the
Okay.
game of rings is what they call it. It's hot.
Okay.
It's hot. Um, I really enjoy this creative team. I'm kind of upset. I saw that in the January solicits that they are relaunching the book again under a new
Again, this
moniker.
is like the fifth time.
Yeah, it's like getting a little ridiculous at this point, but it feels like it also kind of spoils the story because the next volume is going to be called Shang-Chi, Master of the Ten Rings. So it's like,
Oh.
oh, so he about to win the tournament.
Okay, cool.
It's just like, okay, like I kind of figured he was anyway, but it's like this is also just confirming it. But regardless, like I just don't think it's
Is it
something
the
that
same creative team?
same creative team. Well, the artist is going to change, but like literally, that's all that's changed every single time. It's just been a new artist. We're still continuing. Like we're the first one was him getting the rings. This one is about him having the rings and now having to fight for them again. And then I guess this next one is going to be about him having them for the
And
second
mastering them.
time. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And so I understand what it's doing in terms of like the storytelling, but I feel like in terms, I would love for Shang-Chi to just get a long volume. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's something that really sets the tone. I think when you keep relaunching characters and going to this #1, people start to get that feeling of like, oh, I don't need to do this. I'll just wait for the next one. Or they just start getting overwhelmed by how many times they have to keep doing this, or like what else is going to change. They get knocked out of it. And it's like, oh, well, if this is ending anyway, I'll just move on to something else. So I feel like when it's continuous, it's a little bit better. And I think Shang-Chi has that, or is gaining that readership that can sustain him for a little bit longer. Like at least let one get to like 20.
Yeah. Especially I thought that they were gonna do that with Shang-Chi, like
The first one.
the first one. I didn't think they were gonna keep doing this. But
Yeah, so we're getting a new relaunch, but I'm still gonna stick around for it. I think it's a really good book. I've really been enjoying it. I like honestly, it's kind of bumping Shang-Chi up in my list of favorite characters.
oh
Like
wow,
he's
okay.
always again, I've always said he's always been
You've
someone
always
I've
gone
been
up for
interested
him, yeah.
in. like in the fighting, but this book is the one that's been giving him the personality, the story, the history, the characters, and like really just making him feel a little bit more human. And I appreciate that. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm here for it. Why wouldn't I like you? You fight
Yeah, and he beats ass.
like all the time, consistently. So that's been cool to see. I would definitely give this issue also like a 4 out of 5. I highly recommend it if you have not gotten into it. Again, this is only issue 4. You can get into this and still be ready for when it relaunches again in January.
Okay.
And those are the books of the week.
All right. Well, then that go ahead and takes us over into the book club section. I guess we're just gonna call this like AR Club. Let's just for now. Let's call it AR Club. We'll be either watching or reading something, keeping up with us on that, and we're gonna be switching over into watching. And now we're going to be, since we just read the new X-Men run, and sorry to the new X-Men fans out there, they didn't quite get me. maybe we'll see next time. But now we're going to be switching over to watch something, and we're going to be watching Wolverine and the X-Men. So I think that's available on Disney Plus. I think in other places too. I haven't watched this in a while, so this will be interesting to see.
I haven't either. I didn't like it when it came out. I remember that.
There was a lot of Emma. So so we'll see how I feel about it now. I remember back when I watched it when it was coming out, I think I was just liking the content, like it was X-Men content coming out. So I was excited for that.
No, I distinctly remember like not liking that show at all. Like from the first episode, I watched it and I was like, oh, I don't think I like this. And then as it continued, the story, I honestly was not into the whole like it being Wolverine and the X-Men, of him like leading the team. And then I don't think I enjoyed a lot of the character designs. But we'll see if that changed. I do remember liking that one episode where I think they were in the future and like Bishop was in it and Hellion was in it.
Oh yeah, that was hot. Yeah,
yeah, like that episode I really liked. We'll see.
I think that episode is really great. I do remember I watched that clip often of like Hellion using his powers and stuff out there. You know, psychokinesis. It's my fave.
And Firestar was in it too.
She was. Originally, I remember reading some behind the scenes stuff that was supposed to be like a Justice Firestar thing, but they decided to use Hellion instead of Justice.
Oh, that makes more sense. They talk about Firestar on like the mutant. Justice really don't.
Now, don't do all of that. Okay, before we go down that road, let's go ahead and take a break, and then we'll come right back.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another watch. As we end off the episode this week, we talk about the grand, the fantastic, the illustrious Justice Society of America movie that just came out this past weekend.
Not you changing the title.
It might also be known as Black Adam to some of you other people. It stars The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, Noah Centineo, Quintessa, I forget their last name. Swindell,
I think. Yeah, Swindell.
And Viola Davis makes a guest appearance, which is like really exciting.
Pierce Brosnan as my fave, Mr. Dr. Fate.
He looked really good too. Shout out to Viola Davis and Margot Robbie, because we often talk about the connectivity of the DCEU and how it's basically paper mache, but like they are the strongest pieces of paper mache in there, okay?
Truly, they're stringed together. I'll take for that.
Letting you know that they are here and they have been here. And somehow, some way, all of these people are connected.
Whatever kind of way you want to make it up in your head, that's how it works.
It's good to know. So that was good. But going into this, you are a Black Adam fan, yes?
I am, yes. I do like Black Adam a lot. I will admit I haven't read a lot of his like older stuff. But I do consider myself a Black Adam fan. I am not reading his current miniseries. As people have heard on this show earlier, I tried it and was not the biggest fan of the way that the I think his name is now White Adam. That character, how he was being written. So,
Oh, Malik. Yeah, I've seen some of the pages of him floating around online.
yeah. So like, kind of skipped that part. But yeah, I'm a Black Adam fan. I think yeah, I like him.
Okay.
So I was going into this excited for it. I remember what now, 12 years ago at this point. How long ago? It was a long
Yeah,
time ago
a long
when they
time ago.
cast The Rock as Black Adam. And I remember at the time thinking that was going to be a great idea because like it's The Rock, I saw the stature and everything. So I was excited for it back then. As we gotten closer to this movie now coming out, I told myself that, you know what? My expectations for this are this will be a movie starring The Rock. So
Yeah,
take that how you will. And going into it,
Hollywood's
that's
hardest
what I'm
working
going into.
man.
Going into it, that's where my expectations were, and coming out of it, that's what they were. Like this was a movie starring The Rock, and if you like those kind of movies, you will like this one too. If you don't, you will not like this one at all.
I don't know. I think
I
everyone
thought
likes The Rock movies. I don't think I've ever heard someone be like, "Oh, I hate The Rock," or "I hate his movies." They're fun.
no, but then I think people will find them mediocre and just like kind of cheap and not very like. There's no weight or like anything behind it. It's just The Rock.
I think they know they're in for a good time.
It's The Rock. So, I
I
think they
think
know that it's gonna just however you feel about The Rock, whether you like his charm and charisma or you don't. I think
was you that's
that's what you're
did
gonna
you
get.
see did you see that clip online of them like crowd surfing this baby, this like newborn baby, and he gets to the end and they're handing him over to The Rock.
Yes, it's ridiculous. I was like, why are y'all passing him this baby? Like, and
Why
it
was
is
the
a very
baby there?
a, like freshly born baby. Like,
Fresh out the pack, like no more than a
yes,
few weeks or so.
he held it. Was
Um,
holding this baby.
yeah, it's
It's
amazing. Like everyone likes The Rock. You know you're in for a good time. He brings good stuff, and like this movie was no different. It was fantastic.
uh,
I loved it.
he brings the rock. I don't know if he always brings the quality.
He brings
So
quality.
take that for how you will.
And another thing I do, I like that The Rock is racially ambiguous enough that he is able to navigate in and out of so many different roles of like
Okay,
ethnicities and like really
let's
just
talk
like
about that.
transracial, very transracial.
let's talk. Let's talk about that. Let's go straight into that part. So we all know this movie is about like Black Adam or Teth Adam as he's called in this, and then as he is in the comics, and his rise into becoming Black Adam, freeing the people and everything. Now, him being from Kahndaq is very important to the character, but Kahndaq is not a real place, right? So technically, you can cast, I guess, anyone really, because Kahndaq is not a real place. However, Kahndaq in the comics is very obviously coded to be Middle Eastern, and it's near Egypt, because Black Adam get his powers from Egyptian gods. Um, the people in this movie in Black Adam are all Middle Eastern. Like everybody, they very intentionally cast most of the cast to be Middle Eastern people, except the lead of the movie is not Middle Eastern. It's The Rock. Now, I think that's a little problematic in my opinion. So, why was it okay for them to make sure that everybody in this movie was cast to be Middle Eastern and we're going to make sure we do that, but not the lead because we need The Rock to sell it? I don't know.
I
Now,
think
granted, he is a producer of the movies and he may have like technically it probably is his movie. So he probably was like, I'm gonna make it if I could be the lead. So I get that. But at the same time, he probably should have like probably cast an Egyptian person. Or like you said, he's just racially ambiguous enough and lighter skinned enough, but just enough brown to kind of please
Said the
whoever.
word. They said we're gonna
They
have you
said he
speak.
was a Scorpion King before, so you could do
Period.
this.
Like Scorpion King, he's sometimes been a black guy. He like sometimes gives off like white tan. Here he's given Kandaki. I love it.
Wow. So yeah, I don't know. I did find that very interesting that he was able to just kind of like, I don't know, get
Navigate it.
past
And
that.
like
No one, yeah.
everyone's just going with it. Everyone's like, yeah, this
You
works.
Black Adam.
We believe it. I thought, but he did a good job in the role though. Like I feel like I'm not the
Hmm?
hugest Black Adam fan. I'm obviously familiar with him from like his time with the Justice Society, and some other comics that he's appeared in. And I get like I feel like The Rock sold the basis of the aggressive kind of like standoffish guy. I did enjoy the aspects of after he met the mom and the son, he like gave him the catchphrase and he was trying to match the catchphrase with like while he was killing the bad guys. I actually chuckled a couple of times with the one he was like, "Tell him the man in black sent you," as he like dropped him and he fell under the car. I laughed in the theater.
That was good.
So there were a lot of little times like that that I really did like.
Yeah. I liked a lot of the action set pieces and stuff in this too. Obviously, everyone knows if you've been listening to the show, you know that I'm a big fan of the energy flying brick character. So like anytime he was flying and punching stuff, I was going up, zapping the lightning out of his hands. I was definitely going up.
And he was tearing them up. He was like killing people. Like
Oh yeah, I was with it.
he was getting away with a lot. Like shout out to them. I guess maybe they didn't. I don't remember seeing blood. So
No, I think that I've heard rumors that they originally wanted this to be a rated R movie, but they probably realized that he's going to be doing a lot of killing. So if we can take the blood out, we can maybe get away with a PG-13 so we can get it in front of more people. Because he was like, in that first scene, he was ripping people's arms off. I loved it when he was beating people up with other people.
yeah,
My
that was good. I could have done without like a lot of the slow mos. I still felt like we were grabbing some of that like Snyder influence from that. And it was a little bit overdone. I think the really only times we needed it was when Cyclone was on screen.
Yes. Did not need it at the end of the film when he was breaking out of that prison and was slow-mo fighting those guards and stuff. I thought that was a little bit overdone at that point. I did find it interesting that they used Intergang. I was not expecting them to be used in this. Intergang in the comics there's like basically it's in the name. It's a gang. They're intergalactic gang, and they pretty much they have this like teleporter, or they usually like get contracted with other aliens, and they go out and gain technology from other planets and use them on Earth to like rob banks and be a gang. So I wasn't expecting them to be in this, but that was pretty cool to see. I had no idea who Sabak was. Y'all know I don't get down with the Mystics, so I guess that is an actual character. So he, being like the other actual villain of the movie, was a curveball for me. And I actually thought he didn't look that bad. Like, I didn't think his CGI was that bad.
He gave me Trigon feels a little bit too. I was like, oh, like if they could do this, like they can make him look really good if they ever decide to bring him over here.
Honestly, when I was watching this entire movie, I kept thinking, oh, this would be dope as a Titans movie. Like if y'all could do this, you could just do Titans now.
One thing that I did feel about the movie is that it felt like it grabbed a lot of influences from past comic book movies. Like the entire time where we were in Hawkman's lair and like we saw the plane going out, I was like, oh, this is giving me the X-Men movies of the 2000s. Obviously, like you would get some Snyder influences with a lot of the slow-mos and things like that, which we got to talk about Hawkman in a second, but go ahead and finish your thought.
I thought like I said, the action pieces and the fight scenes were really great in it. I thought like that was really cool. Intergang's power in it. I didn't know about this Eternium thing. That is new for Black Adam. Excuse me. I don't remember him having like, his own kryptonite, but that was kind of fine. Also, I will say that they kind of Disney-fied his origin a little bit. He was a lot more ruthless in the comic in the beginning, like his original origins. Once he got the powers of Shazam, he just was like, I'm going to kill the Pharaoh because I should be the one that's ruling everybody. So he went for the hero and killed him. And then I want to say it may have been the New 52, or maybe right before that. They like updated his origin where, and like in the movie we saw, it was his son who ended up getting the powers and he transferred them to his dad. In the comic, it was his nephew, and the nephew had the powers, and I think he also gave them to Black Adam, and Black Adam like killed his nephew so that he could have all the powers to himself. So they kind of changed it for the movie to make it his son, and that his son like gave him those powers. He didn't kill him for them, which I don't
That
know.
was nice.
Yeah, I think the movie version is, I guess, a lot more easier to get behind, you know, than the comic book version. So
You got to
to
make your
some,
leader
this
a
may
little
feel like
likable
update.
now.
Yeah, you got to make them likable. So like, I think I like the update. It wasn't too bad of a departure. They still like, you know, nailed his ruthlessness once he became Black Adam, because he was not cutting any corners or using doors.
Agreed. Yeah, he was messing up everything. I also really did enjoy the whole aspect that they kind of tried to get with the political implications of the American heroes coming into Kahndaq and saving them and how they wanted to
Oh, she
do
cleared.
that. Yeah, she did. She shut it down a little bit. I didn't like her though, so I was still against her.
I liked her
I,
when she cleared. When she cleared Hawkman and was like, "Where were you? We finally get our own superhero." And now all of a sudden you show up. Like, y'all weren't here when Intergang was here. You weren't here doing any of that, and all of a sudden now you want to be the Justice Society.
I was like, well, if he
She's
was a
right.
superhero, then I let him stay, but he's not. So,
Yeah.
nonetheless, I had some issues with the Aldous Hodge Hawkman portrayal. I think
Let's
that
talk
they did a
about it.
really good job with Hawkman and showing kind of like how he also has a commanding presence. He's not also like afraid of anybody. He's going to be fight. He's going to be aggressive as well. I didn't like how they did the entire heroes don't kill thing. Hawkman's not running around screaming that every 5 seconds. Like Hawkman will kill you. That's like kind of a thing. But I get you have to have somebody have that, but I don't know. It just wasn't jumping me. It also gets a little bit annoying after a while because, like you said, she did clear him with that whole thing. These people have been terrorizing them and taking them over, and you haven't been doing anything, and he can't come in and like kill them. No,
He's like, come on, yeah.
be serious.
Be serious.
Be serious. But other than that, I did still like everything about him. I hope we continue to see more of him, and with a more comics accurate costume, he can take the little chest plate off, and we can just have a harness. I love the mace.
I'll go ahead and be honest with you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Aldous is he a great actor or is he just fine? And I don't care. Because sometimes the line delivery that he was giving, it was very like, a lot of the moments felt like he was delivering the lines as if, oh, this part is going to be in the trailer. So it would be like randomly someone would like when they got to when they dropped off Black Adam to the Suicide Squad like base thing towards the end of the movie, and that white lady walked up to them. He was like, "Oh, crazy to see you here," and like the way he said it and the way he posed, it was very like.
So that was weird to me because I was like, "Am I supposed to know who this white lady is? Like, was she in something else?" And I just like missed it because I felt like it was like a really big deal. Like she came up with all this attitude and like, "Yeah, Waller sent me," and da 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 da, and it was just like, "What's your name?"
Yeah, who are you? I literally in my head was like, all right, Lazaric, like pull up your DC knowledge. Maybe that was somebody's daughter or something. I don't know who she was supposed to be, but
I was like, is she gonna come up again? Maybe like she's something for a future movie. The Rock has been very vocal about everything that's been happening with this movie, and he has let us know that there's going to be more.
He's how I learned about the extra credit scene.
Okay, he spoiled it like a month before the movie came out. Like, sir, stop talking.
At the premiere on the red carpet, he told everybody.
It's like, yeah, this is going on. It's like, sir, stop talking. But in terms of all this acting, I think he's fine. Some of his line delivery was fine.
I don't know if he's. I don't know about the acting.
I think he's done better in other stuff. Like I liked him in the show Leverage that he was in. I liked him in The Invisible Man. movie that
Mhm.
he was in. Here again, I thought it was like adequate. He's acting with like The Rock and Noah Centino, so I'm not really expecting
Too
too
much.
much, you know.
Mm.
Um, I think it was a little stiff at times. Pierce Brosnan, I thought, was like really good as Dr. Fate. The suit looked good. He did take off his helmet a little too much for my liking, which I kind of assumed was going to happen, of course. But
Hmm.
when he put it on and he got to work, real
Ooh,
nice,
hot. Yeah. I think
real
I
nice.
might have to do some deep dives on him because I really do like Dr. Fate. Not
Yeah.
magic, but whatever.
Remember when you
We're
was
gonna have to
just
make an
saying
exception.
like 20 minutes ago how you didn't like
Fate is
magic?
an
Now you're
exception.
about to give me deep dive. Okay.
Okay. I'm allowed to have one.
Okay. You got a couple. But anyway, Dr. Fate was good. Again, Quintessa as Cyclone, I really enjoyed that portrayal.
It
The
was
way they
great.
did her powers looked so good.
I
Like,
was a little afraid. I won't lie to you. The way
mm,
they did Cyclone's powers initially, like when they first had them like jump out or whatever and do that whole fight, like sometimes in a lot of superhero movies and like their live action adaptations, there are certain powers that get animated, and then there are certain powers that gets the what I like to call the telekinesis package, which is it don't matter what their powers actually are, they just always operate like telekinesis. So
Wanda.
I was afraid that when the cyclone came out, like we saw her like cyclone
Mm,
up those metal beams and throw them at him. I was like, okay, this is given telekinesis. Then all of a sudden she threw up that like windshield, and I was like, okay, I hope she actually does like wind things. And we saw
mm.
that later, luckily enough. But I was afraid that she was going to get the telekinesis package.
No, she looks good. I'm excited for more of her. Like, that's a doll right there. They did good with that casting. I'm a Cyclone fan of the comics, so that was really
Mm.
exciting for me. And Adam Smasher, I enjoyed him. He was giving more of the rookie of the group and like kind of new to it, but I enjoyed it. You always got to have one. He gets
I
busy.
found him a little annoying in this. I won't lie to you.
I'm sure
He
he.
not the like plucky rookie thing. Like that's totally fine. I think he could have that would have shined a lot more in a JSA movie where he was like
Mm-hmm,
amongst the whole roster and doing that kind of stuff. But here
mm-hmm.
it felt like kind of forced and like a reminder that don't forget Adam Smasher is also a part of this cast. So we got to show him doing something where he messes up, and I don't know, it felt forced. Sometimes his like plucky attitude just felt random.
I loved it. I support it.
Mm.
I'm looking forward to more. And his suit looked really good. I will
The
say
suit,
that
his
too.
powers looked great.
They did a really good job with that, but I'm a sucker for it. I don't know. The entire JSA has my support. I will be standing for more. I hope to see a couple more like in the future. The Rock is saying this is like the renaissance of the DCEU. We're back. We are here. We can get to the post credit scene at the end. Waller comes up to
Big
him
Blue.
and even before we get to the post credit scene, I did love at the end of Black Adam where after they saved everybody, he's sitting up on the throne and they're like, "How does it feel?" And he flies up and destroys it. Literally, we were in the theater and as soon as he destroyed it, I said, "Ooh, no thrones on a Rocco."
God, yeah. I thought the same thing.
I was like, "Yes."
When he was
I
sitting
was
on the
like,
throne, they were like, "How does it feel?" And he was like, "It doesn't feel right."
and it was like,
No
boom.
thrones on rock.
I was like, period. I love that. But then, as we get into this mid-credit scene, Waller shows up to Black Adam and she's like, stay in your lane. If you do, I got somebody for you. He's like, who you got for me? And in walks Mr. Henry Cavill as Clark Kent Superman. And
Did he
I'm
have the
so happy
pearl?
for him because that man has been on his hands and knees begging to come back
The
as
fans
Superman.
too.
The fans too, everyone. He was like,
Yeah.
he would not do. He was like, I will quit every job I had if you let me come back and do this movie. And WB was just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what you want. And that is wild. You have an actor who wants to do it, fans who want them to do it, who will throw money at him. And in my opinion, is a great Superman. And
They
WB
said,
said, I don't know what you want us to do.
they, they said, who's gonna be in it?
That is wild. I mean, they say that for most things. You tell them any movie, and they like, whoa, whoa,
They're
who
like,
is
what are
that?
you supposed to do? They're like, what's it gonna be about? Like, what do you like? We don't know. We can't do this for you. So shout out to like The Rock for making that possible for him and getting him back into that groove. And now apparently they've greenlit a new Superman movie.
Yeah, allegedly there might be some kind of like Man of Steel 2 thing coming out with Henry Cavill. So
But again, you can't really trust DC and WB and what they say because they've
yeah,
put out a lot of things,
and
and you
it's
might
all
only
get
see
pulled away.
two.
You might even film it, and then it's still gonna pull it away.
Okay, you're just like, never mind. And again, they didn't really seem to care too much about Henry Cavill's request in the beginning.
Mm-mm.
But The Rock said, hey, let's just hope it doesn't take another 12 years.
I
We get
hope
to move.
not. I like this new suit too. It's way more
It
bright.
looks
It's
good.
brighter. It's blue. It looks good. I also loved. I won't lie to you. I really loved the Black Adam finale suit. Not the cape on it, but like
Mm,
the more like yellow gold lightning bolt and the like
mhm.
brighter gold like adornments on his costume. I really like that a lot more.
It was cool.
Yeah. Um Overall, it was fun. I didn't think it was terrible. I had a good time. I will definitely be streaming the compilation clips of Black Adam using his strength and punching stuff and flying
Hmm.
around. I thought the flight was great. Also, I had noticed his feet only touched the ground twice in this movie. Like every scene he
Mm.
had, he was flying. His feet only touched the ground when he walked in and killed the pharaoh at the beginning.
Hmm.
And even after that, he like started flying instantly before he killed him. And at the end of the movie where he relinquished, being Shazam, that was the
Hmm.
only time in the present that his feet ever touched the ground.
Speaking of that ending when he like did all that, I will say I hated the way like they did his name, and he was like, "Oh, stop! Like I don't need to be Teth Adam anymore." They were like, "Well, what are you gonna call yourself?" And then it went to
They
Black
always do
Adam.
that. They
Hated
always
it.
do that.
Hated it. Hated
Yeah.
it. It reminded me of the Fantastic Four movie, the one with Kate Mara and Michael B. Jordan. Hated it.
Hmm.
Just had to say
That's
that.
that's one superhero trope thing that I don't really like either. Well, what are we gonna call you? And they play into the person and they grin.
It's
I don't
just
like
like,
that.
no, that's not. And then it was because like, imagine being the person standing there, like, what you pausing for?
Yeah, I could have done without that. I also thought I don't know, the heel turn was random, but I guess you could kind of explain that he gave up his power being Shazam because he hurt that little boy, Amon, who may have been like a son kind of to him.
Hated him too.
Yeah. And I think in the comics, that girl becomes his wife, like back
I was about
Adams.
to say, I think they're both. I think from the comics, they both get some powers.
I think he's Captain
Um,
Marvel Jr., and I think that's Isis.
Isis, I think he was going by
Oh,
Osiris.
Osiris. Osiris,
Yeah,
that's right. He was kind of cool. He was nasty.
we'll see. But I
Mm,
don't like a lot of kid actors though, so that also tracks.
yeah. I didn't think he was that annoying in this. He wasn't too bad, actually.
He was better. I wouldn't say that, but he was better than the boy who played a young Aquaman.
Yes. Yeah.
So
With the
I'll give him
contacts. Yes. Yes, he was.
dark times.
Yeah. Overall,
But
what would you rate this movie?
out of five,
Yes.
I give it like a 3.8.
Okay. Yeah.
It was fun. I had a
That's
good
fine.
time. If it comes on, I'll watch it again.
Mm-hmm.
I love Dr. Fate. I loved all the JSA, how their powers looked, their fight scenes. I thought they were great. The action throughout the movie was good. Big, bombastic action. It's what you'd expect from The Rock to have a good time, to have fun. The acting obviously is not going to be like super like there for everybody. There were some parts of the story that felt a little bit clunky, but overall I think it turned out nice, came
Mm-hmm.
together. Well, I recommend it.
Yeah, I
It's
would
the
give it.
renaissance of the DCEU. It's a new
I would give
day.
it. We'll see about that. I would give it like a 3 out of 5, a 3.5 out of 5, like a 3.25 out of 5. I had fun. It was fun. I like the action pieces. One thing I really do like about DC and their universe as far as their adaptations outside of comics is I like when they insert the comics in the universe and say those are
Mhm.
like you know, brand deals and stuff for people. Like I remember in one of the animated movies, the Justice League got bills and stuff they got to pay, like electric bills and stuff. And Batman was like, "Oh, I can kind of support it." And Wonder Woman was like, Wonder Woman merch is doing pretty good, and my comic books are selling, so like I can pull in something. So I think
Yeah,
that's kind of cool. Like in this movie, the comic books were all throughout the
yeah. He
movie.
had posters
They were
all over
real
his
big.
wall.
Yeah, and all in his backpack with comic books and stuff. So I think that stuff is kind of cool.
Very
That they just exist as like merchandise for for the characters.
cool.
Um, and yeah, I thought the movie was fun. 3.25 out of 5.
Okay.
All right, y'all. Well, that brings us to the end of the show. Please make sure you rate and subscribe us wherever you get your podcast. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Another Relaunch. You can watch us on YouTube at Another Relaunch TV. You can find me on most social media platforms at Uncanny LZ. Keenan, where can they find you?
You guys know you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Keena Lance. As always, there's an underscore at the end.
Boom. All right, y'all. Let's get up out of here and we'll catch y'all next week.
Peace.
Peace out.